So, hey everyone on YouTube world, I'm Priyanka, and today we are going to interview Danielle Anantra and her husband, Joe Anantra. So thank you so much for joining in. So let's get started, and whoever wants to answer this, tell me, how did you guys meet?
He came to my house. We had a mutual friend, and it was Halloween of 2005. We had a mutual friend, and one of his friends, I guess, called her one night, and she invited them over when me and her were on our way home from a Halloween party. So he came to my house. The rest is history.
Awesome. And what were your careers at that time? Danielle, were you a psychic medium at that time?
Well, not knowingly. Definitely not knowingly, but I was always really interested in the work, and I always wished I was, because every time I went to psychics, I was like, this is so much fun. And he's like, you're crazy, they're full of shit. He never really believed in them, and he said I was crazy for even going to them. And I don't remember what I was doing when I first met you.
You worked at the bank.
Not yet. Did I?
Yeah.
I did. Oh no, did I?
Yeah.
All right. I worked at the bank.
Now I don't remember what I was doing, so I didn't start.
You
the
worked
town
for
yet.
Multi-Flow.
Oh yeah, I was a salesman for a soda company. That's right.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was a horrible salesman.
You were, because you were at my house every day. You didn't even do it. he had to go to places during the day, so it was kind of, you got paid to, do what you got to do and sell soda systems. So, you just hung out with me most of the time.
And so did either of you know at that time that, for Danielle, did you know he's going to be the one?
Well, I always said that the first guy I'm with for over a year is going to be the person I marry, because I usually get bored very quickly. So once we reached that year mark, I was like, okay, I could do this.
It took me a few years before I said that. I didn't say it after year one.
Well, we met young. I was 20. You were going to be 24.
I was 23.
He was going to be 24. We do this age thing. And we were together for about 5 years before we got engaged, and then we got married at 25, right? 25. Yeah.
You were 26. I was 29 when we got married.
I think that's wrong. I had Joey at 26. We had my son at 26. And
right. We also got married at 26. You had Joey the same year.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you got married at 25. All right, I was wrong.
I know.
And so how did you transition from your bank to becoming a psychic medium, Danielle?
Oh boy, well, that's his story. So I'm gonna I'll let him take this question.
Oh, I mean, it's not necessarily my story. What happened was I had unfortunately I got diagnosed with brain cancer when I was 31 and 31. And that kind of woke everyone up to, bigger purposes and ideas in life. And that's when she discovered her gifts. It's a very shortened version. If you want to elaborate, you can.
Well, we don't have time for that, but I'm very long-winded. I knew he would shorten it. But yeah, when I met Joe, he was atheist. He didn't really believe in a higher power or anything, God, anything for that matter. Typical dude, sports politics, that's what ran his world. And when this started happening, I was trying to help him find holistic help for himself, because he had a grade 3 brain tumor. So, that can kind of go either way. And at the time, there was only a 3 to 5 year lifespan for something like that. So we were very scared. And I guess that's when you kind of found that higher power for yourself. When I was trying to help him find holistic help for himself, we ended up finding my first mentor, who really, helped us grow from that. And I started experiencing my gifts on overdrive. And I wanted to really understand what I was going through. And at the same time, I wanted to help him, but it kind of all went hand in hand. And, so that's kind of where it all started. And he wanted to really understand me. He was really trying to be open and understand what was going on with me. And while he was going through all this too, because obviously something shifted in both of us. And I would come home to him watching like the math and science part of all of this, like astrology and numerology, like that's all proven. It's all proven stuff. And I would come home and from like a meditation class or something like that, and he would be sleeping to like a documentary on like psychics or astrology or something like that, because he was really trying to understand me and what I was going through. And he was also trying to find that faith for himself as well. And I think we both kind of found that. Why are you laughing?
Trying to understand you. I got extremely interested in the subject. And
While you were trying to understand me.
Yeah, I was trying to understand. Okay. That was the goal. That was the main goal. I did get deeply interested in the topic. So, I started reading books, listening to lectures, documentaries, and not just the topic of psychic mediumship, but just the overall topic of everything that I didn't know about spirituality and things like that. Because like she said, I was an atheist 100%, Darwin, evolution, all that, basically nonsense. So here we are.
We are.
That's beautiful. So both of you went through a transformation at the same time. Would you say that you both transformed at the same time and started believing in a higher power, started believing in spirit?
Pretty much.
Okay. And at that time, Danielle, you decided to tap into more of your intuitive gifts and maybe think of doing it as a career.
Yeah, well, it happened pretty quickly. I mean, everything, I was, like I said, I was always interested in psychics and, and things like that. I was always like right there. And then he started becoming interested in it. And I always knew I had like that women's intuition or mother's intuition, whatever you want to call it. I always knew I had that, but I didn't think it was to the extent of that I could make a career out of it. But then it's just like anything, you just hone in on your skills and you kind of work that muscle and you get better and better at it. And once I started doing that, I started finding less and less pleasure in the job that I was doing. I was working like a 9-to-5 job at the time, because I kind of switched over from the bank into another job with a pension, 401k. Me and him thought we were like living the dream. We were so lucky. But in a sense, I was lucky because it gave me a lot of time to practice my gifts. I couldn't go to a lot of like psychic development classes and stuff because I worked a lot of nights after he was sick, but I self-taught for a really long time and I had the time to do that at the job I was at. And I actually met my first mentor through a woman that I worked with. So I feel like everything that happened kind of needed to happen to put us on track for what we needed to do. And, every day we thank God that happened. Although we don't want to go through it again, we're so grateful for the challenging experience that we had because it created so many, wonderful things for us. So it was really nice.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really beautiful that both of you transformed at the same time. And so you were there to support each other. And Joe wasn't like, oh, Danielle is losing her mind. What is she doing?
No, I was like that for a little while. That's not true.
This was even before the psychic stuff. He was like, what the hell did I get myself to? What did I sign up for here?
Yeah, no, I thought she lost her mind until I started picking up on it and diving deep myself.
So did Danielle do a reading for you, a mediumship reading for you?
No, she still hasn't. She's been a medium for how long? And she doesn't do any readings for me.
Well, you know what? I learned to like read for like friends and family and things like that because when you know so much stuff about someone, it could be a little more challenging to dive in. But the kinds of readings that you do get are like when it comes to guidance and what we should or shouldn't be doing and things like that. Like we moved out of state, we moved across the country and based off of like what spirit was telling us, like what spirit was telling us to do and things like that. So little things like that, that's how I use my intuition with him because I pretty much know everything. So there's nothing really to dive into there. Like I know his emotions around things, his experiences that he's had, what he's been through. And, it's the same for me. He wouldn't probably be able to do any kind of reading from me if he wanted to. He doesn't think he's psychic, but it was fun. I'll tell him the story. One night he went to a meditation class somewhere one night, and I stayed home with the kids, and he just wanted to do a meditation outside the house, and he comes home, and I was like, oh, how was the class? He was like, good. I'm like, what are you holding? He'd have like this picture, and I'm like, he's like, I won the psychic development exercise. And I was like, oh. And meanwhile, I know a lot of the people that were there, and they were all like very like, good psychics. And I was just like,
It was lucky guess. I didn't really tap into anything, I don't think.
Yeah, and the
no.
lucky guess brings me to my next question, which is you guys, moved all the way out of different states. And so, Joe, that shows that you have faith in spirit, you have faith in Danielle's psychic abilities.
I trust her intuition. And I think between her right brain and my left brain, her divine feminine, my masculine, I feel like we made the right decision, because so far we've been here for however months, 6 months or so, and it's been working out. It's working out for the kids, especially mostly for the kids.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
So far so good.
Yeah, they're a big
So
reason.
it looks like it worked out.
Yeah, but the kids are a big reason why we left too. So it really is working out very nicely. So that's what I use my intuition for with him.
And I always, if it's a big decision, I always tell her, tap in, get your intuition going. It's a big decision, because sometimes your logical linear thinking doesn't always have the answer. So you need that intuition and that guidance. So between my logic and her intuition, we made a decision.
But he also has very good intuition too, because sometimes if I say something, like he sees, like you have to see overall, like, does this resonate with me or not, or do you think maybe you interpreted that wrong? Let's talk about it. So like he really taps into that that place as well without even knowing it half the time. So we work well together when it comes to
that's beautiful. I love
stuff,
how you guys balance each other out. That's beautiful.
We definitely have to create that sometimes though, because I'm a little extreme and he's more like calmer than me, so we both have to bring each other back sometimes.
That's beautiful. So how did you explain your transformation to the kids?
Oh, well,
they still don't really know.
Yeah, you know what?
They weren't even, my daughter wasn't born yet, and my son was just not even, he's 1.
Yeah, well,
one.
Deanna was, he was barely 1, but we've been doing a lot of work on ourselves. So they know the personal development side of my job, and like, changing your mindset. They know that I help people and, and do things like that. And I'm not shy about what I do. I'm not shy about what I do with people or, whatever. But when it came to my kids in the beginning, I didn't want anyone judging them because of what I did, because face it, like this work, it's like either you're into it or you're not, and either you don't believe in it or you're scared of it, if and I just never wanted to reflect on my children either, if they have a friend. But I know I don't really, in the beginning, that's how it was for me. Now I'm less hesitant to tell like other mothers, like what I do and things like that. I always tell spirit, like, let them ask me what I do if they're going to be open to receiving it. If they aren't open to it and I shouldn't mention it, then just have them not ask me, because I don't want to have to hold back, what I do or how I do it, or, anything like that. I'm like, because I shouldn't have to do that, hold back who I am. So I feel like it worked out very nicely after I asked spirit for that, because it's more well received by a lot of people, and and it doesn't really affect the kids at all. So yeah.
And how do you guys like include your kids in terms of like spirituality, in terms of intuition? What are you teaching them? How are you including them in this?
Well, our kids are actually pretty well versed in the Christian religion, to be honest with you.
They are.
And so they get their spirituality through Christianity, my children, especially my son. And I think that's great. So I mean, basically where they are spiritually is Christianity. is where they are.
I agree with that. Yeah, they're very interested in learning about God and all of that. And honestly, the Christian religion is probably as close to my beliefs as I could get, like spiritually. Because every religion is just different stories of learning, and you take them the way you want to take them. And I just want my kids to just wake up and be good people and be the best that they could be every day. And I'm very proud of them. I mean, my kids are kind. They're a little crazy, but I blame myself for that. But I'm like, they're kind, they're good people, they make age appropriate mistakes, but they learn from them. And even Joey, like my son, like I forget what happened, but I'll leave that out, I guess. But something happened where he was able to really like see the other side of something, and he came to us and like he just said something like so profound to us when things were going on with all their friends, or he just turned 11 and he just said something so profound and things like that. I'm just like, all right, like they make you realize that you're doing a good job, because behind every good parent is them thinking that they're not doing something right or they're doing something wrong. But yeah, like little things that they do or say, I'm just like, okay, we're getting to them, like something, they're good kids. They really are good kids. And I think watching us grow and evolve helps them,
Nice.
Mm.
And how do you use your psychic powers on a day-to-day basis in your family? Like what games is mommy not allowed to play?
Well, remember we went to Pennsylvania and we had we were in a restaurant with them. We had a calculator on our phone number. We put like a number from like 1 to 20 or whatever on our phone, and I kept getting the number right, and my husband's like, mommy's not allowed to play anymore. One day with my daughter, I should actually post this video. I think I might have actually. We had like this red Solo cups, and she had like a ball or something underneath it, and I kept picking where the ball was, and she wanted to know how to do it. I told her just like, shut down your mind. And you saw her, she like closed her eyes all on her own, and she was feeling, and she got the ball every time. She was so proud of herself on the video. It was really cute. I should probably repost it. Remember that one?
I do.
And yeah, I should probably repost that. But sometimes we play little games like that, and they joke around. They go, yeah, mommy's psychic. They joke around like, what am I thinking? My son's always like, what am I thinking? And I'm like, oh my God. So we do play little games like that. They enjoy it. That's usually when we go out to eat, to get them to sit down.
And there's absolutely no lying in the house.
Yeah, that was my next question.
It's very difficult. It's very frustrating. Sometimes I want to lie to her and I can't. It's annoying.
Yeah, in our old house, we had someone living upstairs, and it's funny, we always had a lot of drop-in company, but like, the guy across the street, the people next door, the kids next door, like we always had like neighbors in and out, and I was always familiar with that energy. But like sometimes I would come home and be like, who is here? Like, could I feel like different energy like in the house? So I always knew like if someone out of the ordinary like stopped by or something, like you could just feel it. It shifts in the house. So
that was the first and last time I brought a girl home. That was the end of that story.
Go up to strangers and tell them that spirit has a message for you?
Sometimes. It's not something I do all the time, because I like to mind my business. If I go out, and I have really strong boundaries with spirit, because I had very high anxiety when I first started doing all of this work, and that anxiety just was like detrimental to me. So I learned to close my energy system down really strongly. So I'm usually not bothered too much by things, but you might see me like I'm always in the store with headphones on, because I just try to like drown it out sometimes on the high anxiety days. And I'm always walking around with headphones on. That's one way for me, if just to like kind of drown it out, or I listen to music. I have music on all day long in the house, every morning, everything. I always have music on. That's a good way for me to kind of calm down and like decompress a little bit and send them away. But once in a
It's
while,
always bad music.
Stop.
I hate when you have to music.
I'll get used to it. And then, but once in a while I do go up to people if they're able to push through every boundary I have, I know that it's important. And I usually will tell spirit, well, if they're going to be open for a message, let them come up to me and say something. So if a complete stranger walks up to me and just starts talking randomly to me, I'm like, all right, they're going to be open and receptive to this message. And then I will deliver a message. I'll always ask them if I could. And I will, but spirit has some pretty strong boundaries to get through though, to get me to do it.
Awesome. And how do you feel at that time, Joe, especially if you guys are in a party and
Oh, I
Danielle
immediately walk away.
No.
I get as
Walk
far away as possible. When she starts doing that stuff. That's what happens.
As a couple, do you guys do any like psychic development activities together? Are you guys like doing
No.
meditations together? Are you guys?
Meditations we do.
We do meditation together.
Well, when you said, oh, the full moon, let's go meditate under the moon. We never sat outside on the balcony and meditated together.
Oh yeah, I guess a couple times, but yeah, it's been a while.
He meditates a lot more than I do. I'm not really a huge meditator, but we've done he's done a workshop or two when we were living in New York. He came into my office space, and even though we both believe in the same things, we kind of take it into two different directions. Like I'm more about like the readings and the intuitive classes and things like that. He's more into like the mindset, personal development part, and learning and growing like within with himself. And so he was, what was the class about that you were doing? It was more around like health and wellness, like things like that. That's more like the route he goes with it, where I go more in the psychic development part. So, but yeah, he taught a class on that, and I'm sure there will be classes that he does in the future, but he knows so much about it, even though he doesn't like to admit that.
So how do you support each other in your spirituality and your psychic development?
I just let her do what she's got to do, and I stay away, basically.
And I let him do what he's got to do. And the big thing is like with our relationship, like independence is very, very important to both of us, especially him. He's a Sagittarius. If I tried to hold him down, this marriage wouldn't work at all. So we just give each other that trust. We just completely trust each other, and we let each other just go where we have to go, do what we have to do, have experiences. We have experiences together a lot, but we also have experience separately, and I think that's really important. As well, there's some things that we want to do on our own, and there's some things that we want to do together, and we make it work.
Really
So
cool.
it's really cool.
Yeah, and that was going to be my question. What's the secret for a happy marriage? And I think that's your answer already.
The secret is knowing if you get divorced, how much financial ruin you'll be in. That's the secret of a happy marriage.
Just stop it.
Well, and other
It's
things.
on YouTube and other things. I think the biggest thing is independence and being able to accept things without judgment. And I could talk to this man about anything, no matter how difficult the conversation is going to be. Sometimes he doesn't get mad, he doesn't yell, he doesn't I think we've been together like 17 years. He's never raised his voice at me. Like we've always had like a kind and considerate exchange with one another, even if we're angry, and I could just talk to him about anything, and he can come to me too, because we both use that logic and that we use both sides of our brain basically, but we put ourselves in the other one's shoes, and we try to understand each other. So I think instead of reacting, just really like calmly listening and trying to understand where they're coming from. I think that's very important, and that's why we don't really fight too much. Like we get through a lot of things. We have like little disagreements when we're aggravated, like around the kids or something like that, but for the most part, I'm like, this is it all day, so it's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. Why are you laughing?
What? No, I'm not laughing.
But yeah, so that's why I feel like we bring things up. We don't let things fester.
That's
So,
beautiful.
yeah.
So what advice would you give to other people out there who are wanting to become a medium and step into this full time? And maybe they don't have support from their partners, or they don't know if they're able to do this as a parent as well. What advice would you give to them?
Well, support is super important. Support is the thing that got me through this journey, because it's a lot of sweat and tears when you're, going within and learning about yourself. A lot of trial and error, and it can get frustrating, and it's not always like love and light. So having that spouse support was really important to me. But we took a while to get there and to try to understand it. But my thing is, if you're with somebody who truly loves you and wants to, see you succeed and see you be supportive, I feel like they'll try to be supportive in any way that they can. If they don't do it on their own, just ask, because that communication is really important. And, and if they don't want to support you and they give you a hard time about it, then, that might be something to look at. But I think anyone who truly loves you and wants this marriage or this relationship to work, I feel like they will support you. But sometimes they don't know how. And even though we don't want to hold their hand through it and tell them like, oh, I need you to do this and then do that, like, sometimes you might have to tell them exactly what it is that you want or that you feel like you need, because that communication is really important. So that's one way. And when it comes to your kids, you just, it's not one size fits all. You have to figure it out as you go along. Where are you not peaceful? Why aren't you peaceful? Try to fix it. And that would be my biggest advice there, because I feel like every child's different. And every child's needs are different as well. So no one knows your child better than you. And that's when your intuition is really going to start to tap in. And a lot of times what you need to figure out for yourself has to do with your child a lot of times too. So as you discover yourself more, I feel like you'll discover what it is your child needs as well. And you'll be able to just do it.